informed about the latest developments as they play out in the Senate. We'll definitely be focusing on what exactly is happening right there to keep you updated on the very latest developments. Now, I just want to have a quick chat with my panelists right here in studio. We'll definitely be evaluating this conversation a little bit later on lengthily. But right now, just brief sentiments from the gentleman joining me in studio. Already, we have Odoyo Owidi, who's a political analyst, is joining us in that capacity. Asante sana for your time, Odoyo. Equally joined by Fanya Mambo Kinuthia, a lawyer and a vocal critic of the government. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Just briefly, Odoyo, what do you make of the Deputy President's chances at the Senate? Will we see what we saw play out in the National Assembly, where some members voted with emotions, some voted based on the evidence that was adduced? What do you make of the next 2 days?
Just like the National Assembly is a random sample of the people of Kenya, so is the Senate. And as you can see, even the DP himself doesn't believe he has any chance left. That is why he's supposed to go and appear in a day or two, but he's still running to go to stop it. That means he doesn't believe Senate will let him free.
Why is that? Do you think it's based on the evidence against him, or it's based on the political inclination that played out in the National Assembly as well?
You know, the DP's statements, actions are all over for everyone to see. Yeah. Even him, he can see them. So what he's doing is just everybody must fight, even if the opponent is too heavy for you. In this case, his opponent is the Constitution. So he's actually knowing very well he can't surmount the opponent, but he has to try. A man must try.
Interesting. Panyamambo Kinuthia, it's great to have you with us. What do you make of the Deputy President's chances in the next 2 days?
Very slim, I must say. I think he almost doesn't stand a chance at Senate. But also, I mean, it's interesting. Our Senate all of a sudden has become totally equipped with the capacity to interrogate evidence, look at evidence, decide whether it's conclusive, whether, you know, it takes a lot to become a judge. It takes a lot to become a magistrate. And it takes a lot for a judge and a magistrate to be able to weigh the quantum of evidence that is brought before them and to make a decision as to whether that evidence warrants a person to get either acquitted or jailed for a particular offense. But all of a sudden, our Senate, and I thank God, I'm not belittling them, they do have very qualified lawyers within them, but all of a sudden, all the 67 of them have become qualified of reading and understanding the quantum of evidence and passing judgment on that quantum of evidence. They've even become investigating officers, they become DCI, they become prosecutors. I mean, it's a very complete court. It has the prosecutor inside there. It has got the judges there. It has got the lawyers in there. It has got someone to weigh the evidence. And it even has a capacity to even pass judgment. So it's a very interesting court system. I mean, his die is cast. Unfortunately for him, he needs to start packing his clothes at his residence.
Interesting. You seem to perhaps question the capacity of the Senate. They've handled such cases before, impeachment, whatnot.
As I said, some of the senators there are very seasoned lawyers.
Yes.
I must admit. But it's an interesting court where the people sitting in there are prosecutors, they are judges, they are bringers of evidence. It's just one court that sits with you against the whole court, save for a few. So he's in a very difficult position, I must say. And I think for him, one thing that comes out about Rigiji is that he's a fighter. He has shown his fighting spirit. He has shown he fights to the end. I think that's one trait that has come out of him about this whole issue.
So you still don't expect him to resign? That's not in the option?
Politicians are interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if a politician said, I would rather die than resign, and then they wake up and resign the following minute. Those are politicians for you, and you can't blame him. So let's not say it's not a card. Let's not say it's not an option. I wouldn't be surprised if we woke up and did it anyway. Politicians do it. I mean, you've seen them say, I cannot work with Ruto. Then the next thing, they're in the same government. So politicians, just allow them to be.
Yes.
Yes.
Usieke kwa moyo wetu kwa lungs.
Yes.
Anyway, we're equally joined by Kidi Mwaga. Karibu sana. Thank you for making time. He's a lawyer and the convener at Interparties Youth Forum. Now, Kidi, a lot is set to play out in the next 2 days. We expect the Senate in a quasi-judicial process to evaluate the evidence against the deputy president. Well, what do you make of his chances, bearing in mind there's over 22 cases have been filed in the courts trying to delay the impeachment process in Parliament? What do you make of this whole debacle?
They say that monkeys can never be fair arbiters in matters of the forest. So I must from the outset declare my own bias in this matter, that I can't wait to see the deputy president pack and go. In part because I believe that the great UDA party made a mistake from the beginning. That while settling on Honorable Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy president for William Ruto, someone they knew, they knew from the outset that William Ruto stood a chance to end up as the president-elect.
Yeah.
They were setting William Ruto up in the first place. And in fact, people like Honorable David will tell you that it is Honorable William Ruto, the president now, who wanted Rigathi Gachagua, while other people were vouching for other people. I think that we end up with someone like Rigathi Gachagua in the office of the deputy president is a travesty in this country. I call it a travesty because it appears to me that it is a tragic sequel to a bad play that we have played since 2013, when in our wisdom as a country, lack of it, we decided to let people who are facing very grievous charges to run for president in the first place.
Okay.
But now that the country, that it has become politically convenient to get rid of him, as we get rid of him, this should be a wake-up call for greater constitutionalism in this country. Yes, that is
okay. Interesting. And Odoyo, just briefly, I mean, politics is brutal. How can succession politics be playing out, yet the office holder is still in office? What do you make of that? Are we a little bit too insensitive, or that's the nature of politics?
You know, the program is already drawn, the timetable is out, and it is very clear what time RG is going to get out of office. It's clear to everyone, including himself. But as I told you,
yes,
a man must try. Rigiji is just trying the best he can. In fact, I was thinking that maybe in a few hours, maybe less than 24, he will realize that if he continue like this, he may even lose the little chance he has of contesting a seat in future and resign just in time. Because what I tell you, this quote he's trying to tell us he's relying on is not what he's relying on. It's just throwing a red herring. Rigiji knows very well that the moment Senate will throw him out, there is no minute left for the Gazette notice to come out. And when it's come out, I don't think they can do the job of reappointing him. He's wasting time.
Interesting. Kinuvia, in 30 seconds or so, what do you make of the names that are coming up in terms of replacing the deputy president? Yet he's still in office.
I think before you even go to the names that are coming up, the Guinness Book of World Records needs to start preparing a page for Rigiji as the fastest impeached deputy president in the whole world. I don't think there's one who's been impeached in less days. The closest was Donald Trump. It took 19 days, but he continued holding office as president. So the fastest, this will be the fastest. They need just to start preparing a paragraph in that Guinness Book of World Records for him. I think we've done it in record time. And I must give it up to Parliament and tell them, the same way you are doing this, you have shown that you can do that for many other things. I think we've wanted to develop this country in record time. Let us also do the same for development projects. Go to Parliament, have the whole House, 2/3 majority, voting for very serious bills that concern Mwananchi with the same speed. I think this country would be very successful.
But we actually played out today as Senate. You know, they had to adjourn due to lack of quorum. So it seems once they are flagged to follow a party line or to actually push a certain government directive, they put their best foot forward, as the Englishmen say. So, gentlemen, allow us to take a short break. That conversation will be going on a little bit later on at the top of the hour. at PM, where we'll evaluate Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's chances to survive at the Senate, bearing in mind the 11 grounds we just showed you a little bit earlier on. Equally looking at the political lens, what exactly will be the blowback thereafter? Will a replacement from the mountain actually satisfy the mountain? That and much more coming up, including